Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Shri Radhe. Jai Nitai Satchinandana Gaura Hari. Jaya Nitai Satchinandana Gaura Hari. Jaya Nitai Satchinandana Gaura Hari. Nitai Satchinandana Gaura Hari. Jaya Prabhupada 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 Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol. जय ओम विष्णुपाद हनुमान से परवचकाचार्य श्रोत्र शत श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस शिला इसी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य शिला हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। मथुरा धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarane. Sarvam Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Krishne Matirastu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Today we are reading from Bhagavad-Gita chapter 6 Dhyana Yoga, and starting from verse 6, which is these 5 verses are quite an interesting, really very deep verses. So let's try and understand this. Bandhuratmatmanastasya bandhuratmatmanastasya yenatmaivatmana jitah yenatmaivatmana jitah anatmanastu shatrutve anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmaiva shatruvat vartetatmaiva shatruvat. So here the word by word is bandhu, friend. Atma, the mind. Atmanaha, of the living entity. Tasya, of him. Yena, by whom. Atma, the mind. Eva, certainly. Atmana, by the living entity. Jitaha, conquered. Anatmanaha, of one who has failed to control the mind. Tu, but. Shatrutve, because of enmity. Varteta, remains. Atma eva, the very mind. Shatruvat, as an enemy. Translation is, for him who has conquered the mind, the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. So it's quite an interesting verse. Srila Prabhupada in the purport conclusion, he says, for one who takes to Krishna consciousness directly, perfect surrender to the dictation of the Lord follows automatically. Okay, so Bandhur Atmanas Tasya. This is like a very tongue-twisting kind of verse when we try to read it. So, this Atma word is used quite a lot here in this particular verse. And this Atma is referring to the mind in this case, mainly. So, what Krishna is saying is Bandhu is friend. Atmanas Tasya. So, one Atma is meaning the mind, and Atmanas another is meaning the living entity as a whole, combination of mind, intelligence, false ego, and the body. And so basically what Krishna is saying is, mind itself is a friend and mind itself is the enemy. Right? Bandhur Atmanas Tasya yen atmayeva hyatmana jita anatma. So if the mind is under control, the mind is our friend. And if the mind is uncontrolled, the mind becomes our enemy. So it's quite a, and this is very logical. You don't need to be understanding some spiritual, out of the body experience kind of thing to understand this. On a day-to-day basis, we can see this. If someone is in a very peaceful state of mind, lots of things might come to that person which is not what the person is expecting. Like people might get angry or different fluctuations that happen in the material world. So this is the nature of the material world. It is said that padam padam yat vipadam. It is said that in the material world, at every step, there is a potentiality of danger. Because no one knows when the next breath is going to stop. Right? So no one knows when this body is going to get over. The time of this body is going to get over. No one knows. So that's why this material world is considered vipadam. There is lots of, you never know what's going to happen the next moment. So in those conditions, if one can have this understanding of one's eternal nature as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, then all these changes are seen from the perspective of witness, sakshi. So there is a concept in the scriptures called sakshi bhava. It is called sakshi bhava means because see, what happens is someone who has got an uncontrolled mind, what happens with them is that they are not seeing that the particular thought that is coming is not me. So when I become the thought, I embody what the thought contains. So say for example, if someone's mind is uncontrolled, they will become agitated even in very small situations. Like for example, if someone is stuck in a traffic, this could happen many times. When we are driving, it could happen many times. So someone whose mind is not controlled, when they are stuck in the traffic, they would be very disturbed, right? Their mind will be very disturbed because I want to get to that place, and why am I needing to wait for so long in this traffic? But if someone's mind is controlled, they will just remain in that position, and they will just notice that this is happening now, and this is something that is not in my control. So they will understand that. And when they understand if things are not in my control, then I can just witness it as a witness. And this is our original nature actually. Our original nature is, and this is what we have always been talking about, the three states, Jagrat, Swapna and Sushupti, waking, dream and deep sleep. We know that we are awake now. When we have the deep sleep, we will not know we are in deep sleep. Dream also, we might know we are in dream, but not fully. When we wake up, we will know that we were in dream. But dream a little bit, person knows. The mind itself is becoming everything and person knows. Deep sleep, person does not know anything. Totally, because the mind has gone back to its original, it's not doing anything, right? In the deep sleep, mind is not doing anything. And that's why when we wake up in the morning after deep sleep, we feel very refreshed. Because the mind has got some rest. The mind is not getting rest at all. Since the time we wake up until the time we get deep sleep, the mind is not getting any rest. Continuously, it is constantly trying to think about this, think about that. Constantly there will be chatter, right? One part will say that I want to do this, another part will say I don't want to do this. All these things are going on. So this is the state of mind. It is always in a flux. Therefore, the Arjuna also says, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. Arjuna says to Krishna that this mind is very, it's not staying at one place. It's constantly moving from one place to another. Pramathi balavad dhrudam. And Arjuna also says that it is very obstinate as well. So therefore, sometimes people say that you should try and control your thoughts. But controlling the thoughts is not easy because the thoughts are just popping up. Suddenly it pops up. You don't know how it is popping up, why it is popping up, you don't know. But if we can notice it, that this is popping up, and be a witness to it, then we are not associating with it. And once we are not associating with it, it has no effect on us. The thought starts having effect on us when we identify with it. And sometimes we give a red carpet welcome to a thought, right? And this is what is raga and dvesha. This is what Krishna says, ichha dvesha samutena. So what the thing is, we have this subtle body, mind, intelligence and false ego. And that subtle body is composed of all the impressions that we had since time immemorial. We have been taking birth after birth after birth. And therefore that subtle body has got some types of likes and some types of dislikes. And our whole constitution, our whole existence is based on that. So if something nice comes to me, which I like, I will feel very good about it. If something bad comes to me, which I don't like, I will feel extremely bad about it. But if I can be the witness of all those experiences, when something nice is coming, I am enjoying it, but I am still witnessing it. Something bad is coming, I am feeling very bad, and I am still witnessing it. Because our original nature is, it is Satchidananda. That is, Sat means always existing. It's not like body. Body is Asat. Why is body Asat? Because it's coming into being, but it's not, like when we were born, we were very small, right? And then our body starts growing, and then and then it starts. It's called Shadvikar. In the Vedic terms, there are 6 changes that takes place in the body. It takes birth, it grows, it stays for some time, it produces byproducts, it starts dwindling, and then it vanishes. This is called the six stages. This happens in the material world. So Shadvikar, it is called, 6 changes that takes place. And this change means that it is what is existing. Sat means it will always exist as it is. It will never change. And it is very difficult to understand this particular concept when we have this body, mind, ego. It is very difficult to understand because our whole concept is based on that I took birth and then I am this person and I have all these qualifications. I am son and daughter of so and so. All this, everything is based on identification, and therefore Narad Muni gives the definition of bhakti. What is bhakti? The first step in bhakti is sarva upadhi vinirmuktam. Upadhi means designations. So Narad Muni says that the start of real bhakti is when one gives up all the designations. That the designation starts immediately when we get the body. That I am son or daughter, I am in this country, I am this nationality, I am from this region. All these things come, and then we think that this is the only thing that exists. But actually, our original existence is totally transcending all these things. So when we give up all these designations, sarva upadhi vinirmuktam, then what happens is tat paratvena nirmala. Then we understand our pure nature, our pure Satchidananda nature. Then Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam. Then we engage our senses in the service of the master of the senses. That is called bhakti. But bhakti initially can start from the stage of not being pure as well, because it's like a circle. So when we are involving in bhakti, it is cleansing us. Cheto darpanam arjanam, it is said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. So it's cleansing the mirror of mind and heart, and then slowly we are realizing our original nature as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. And when we are in that state, then bandhur atman atmanastasya. That is what is this words. If we can be in the state of as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna always, then the mind is our friend. Bandhur atman atmanastasya. Yen atmayava hyatmana jita. So the person has conquered the mind. How it has been conquered? Because one has surrendered oneself to the Supreme Personality of God. Devi Esha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratyaya Mameva Ye Prapadyante. Krishna says that someone who surrenders onto me I help that person to cross over this seemingly insurmountable energy of mind. So basically, we are we are within the energy of the Lord, within the field of energy of the Lord, right? So, for example, the body, like as we said, there is Parashakti and Aparashakti. Apara is the inferior energy and Para is the superior energy. So, the inferior energy is the earth, water, fire, air, ether, space, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Eight separated energies. And then Krishna says, Apareyam itastu anyam vidhine prakritim param. Jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharate jagat. So the living entities means they are full of consciousness. So this consciousness is the symptom of a living entity. So Krishna says the living entities are my superior energy. And then the earth, water, fire, air, space, mind, intelligence, and false ego are my inferior energies. So we are a combination of inferior and superior energies, and whenever we are associating ourselves with the mind, which is an inferior energy, we are unfortunately thinking that paropi manute anartham tatkritam cha abhipadyate. Very beautiful verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. It says that yaya sammohito jivo atmanam trigunatmakam. So when the jiva, living entity, is sammohita means I think that this is the only existence. This body-mind existence is the only existence. There is nothing else other than that. It's a kind of very unfortunate situation because unless there is this causeless mercy from the Lord and His devotees, unfortunately one will always think that the body-mind is the only thing that exists. Nothing else exists. The body-mind will exist and this world will exist, and that is the only reality that I know of. But actually, that is the real reality is existence itself. That is what is called absolute reality and relative reality. There are two kinds of realities. So absolute reality is our eternal existence. Everything is based on our eternal existence. Relative reality is this thinking that I am this particular body. That is relative reality. Because it has got a beginning and it has got an end. Just like Adyantavanta Kaunteya Nateshu Ramate Buddha. Krishna says, it has a Yehi Sansparshaja Bhoga Dukkha Yona Yavate. Krishna says that a person who is really controlled, who really knows their eternal nature, they know that all these stimulations that I am getting, and the stimulations are giving me some kind of happiness, they know that it has got a beginning and it has got an end. And therefore they do not too much indulge in it. The senses might come in and I might like it. I'll just witness it. The senses might come in and I might dislike it. Again, I'll just witness it. And it's not that we just become a robot. Not like that. We do whatever we need to do. We engage in all the activities. There is nothing wrong in engaging in all the activities, but we are doing everything from the platform of situated in self. So then nothing is going to affect the person. Because actually nothing is affecting the real person. Because the real person transcends all these experiences. They are at a, like our original existence is at a transcendental level. And when we engage in these discussions, we somehow or other start understanding. So then there is one is called cognitive, right? Cognitive means based on understanding, and another is based on identity itself. So unless there is cognitive or an understanding from the intellectual position, one can never change their identity. The first step is always intellectual understanding of something, right? So we can take an example. Say if someone wants to, someone is very fat and someone wants to get slim. So at the mental and at the intellectual level, they have to understand that, okay, I have this issue, and then I want to make myself better. So it starts at the mental and intellectual level, right? And then the person starts acting in terms of making themselves better physically. So then, when they start acting, it is at the identity level. They're changing their identity when they start acting. So this is what is the cognitive and identity level. So initially it has to be at the cognitive level. So for example, this understanding that our existence is actually consciousness, based on consciousness. If consciousness is not there, there is no existence. So that is the absolute reality, and then the relative reality is this. And when one stays in that absolute reality, then the mind becomes one's friend. But when is in the relative reality, one just gets carried away by the by the waves of the material nature. If something nice is happening, one gets carried away by that. Something bad happens, one again gets carried away. It's like it's a very difficult situation one stays in. So that is what Krishna is saying here. And then the next verse, we can go to the next verse, which is again Krishna is continuing that. Jitatmanah prashantasya Paramatma samahitah Shitoshna sukha dukkeshu Tatha manapamanayoh. So here the word by word is Jitatmanah, of one who has conquered his mind. Prashantasya, who has attained tranquility by such control over the mind. Paramatma, the super soul. Samahitah, approached completely. Shita, in cold. Ushna, heat. Sukha, happiness. Dukheshu, and distress. Tatha, also. Mana, in honor. Apamanayoh, and dishonor. Translation is, for one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. So basically, this is the stage of a totally enlightened person. Jitatmanah prashantasya paramatma samahita. Beautiful, no? So basically what Krishna is saying here is that when one has conquered one's mind, then one is very peaceful. Prashantasya. Totally peaceful, totally contented. This is Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na Shuchati na Kamshati. So when one is situated in that stage as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, then there is no hankering and there is no lamentation. Because the hankering and lamentation happens in identification with the body. Because if I think I am this body, then this body has got some material needs. And this body has got ego. That's why I got the body, right? So the ego is connecting my eternal nature with this temporary body. Then this ego has got hankering. I want this, I want that. And I will go and try to attain that. And if I get it, I'll be happy for some time. But that happiness is not going to last forever, right? And then I'll have another some desire that will come up. Again, I'll go after it. Again, so this is a cycle, right? And sometimes I might hanker for something, but I will not get it. Then I'll lament. Because I did not get it, I'll lament. So this is what is Brahma Shochati and Kamshati. So here, when one has conquered the mind, when one knows that everything is already attained, I don't need anything to attain, because we are eternal, right? Eternally linked with Krishna. Then there is nothing to attain. There is nothing to hanker. There is nothing to lose, because everything is present in the eternal. Everything is there. Nothing is lacking in the eternal, and we are that eternal. Tat Tvamasi, it is said. So when one is purely situated in that, in terms of identity, right? It's not only on the cognitive level. Cognitive is only intellectual level. It's not intellectual level. It is actually on the identity level, like a person is totally in that situation as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, then Paramatma Samahita. So when I know that I am an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, then the Paramatma is also attained to such a person, the super soul. The super soul, Paramatma is present. Paramatma is always accompanying Atma. Upadrashta Anumanta cha Bharta Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hrideshe Arjuna Tishtati Brahmayan Sarva Bhutani Yantra Rudhani Maya. Krishna says that the Lord in the form of Paramatma is present in the heart of all the living entities. And whatever birth a living entity is taking, the Lord is accompanying that living entity as Paramatma. So when one knows one's position as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, one attains Paramatma as well. Paramatma Samahita. Then in that state, what happens? Shita Ushna Sukha Dukheshu Tatha Man Apamanayo. So Krishna is giving different examples, right? So Shita and Ushna. Shita is cold and Ushna is heat. Shita Ushna Sukha Dukha. Happiness and distress. Mana Apamana. Someone is giving honor, someone is giving dishonor. So, Apitulyartha Darshina. There is a beautiful verse where it says that Narayana Parasarve na kutashina bibyati swarga apavarga narkeshu apitulyartha darshina. So when one is totally surrendered onto Narayana, then it does not matter where that person is situated. Because the whole existence understands at the identity level that one is eternally part and parcel of Krishna. Then all these dualities are not going to affect a person. That is what is Dvandvaya Vimukta. Krishna mentions. What are the qualities of a person who is totally enlightened? The qualities is Nirmana Moha. One does not have any pride, one does not have any attachment. Jita Sangha Dosha. One is not attached to sense gratification. Adhyatma Nitya. One is constantly in the state of spiritual existence, knowing fully that one is eternal. Adhyatma Nitya. Vinivritta Kama. No desires. Totally free from all desires. Dvandvaya Vimukta. That is the sixth one. Sixth is one is free from the dualities of material nature. This is the duality, right? So if there is happiness, there has to be distress. If there is heat, there has to be cold. If there is fame, there is infamy as well. Honor, dishonor. So when one becomes free from this duality, Dvandvaya Vimukta Sukha Dukkha Sangye. Sukha and Dukkha, one is same. Gachyantya Modha Padam Avyayam Tat. Krishna says that such a person is a very wise person and he reaches Padam Avyayam. Padam Avyayam is that that place where one is totally in an eternally blissful state. That is the state. So in that state, nothing is going to affect the person because the person is situated there. Brahma Bhuta. They are situated in that state. So this is what Krishna is saying here. A very beautiful verse to understand this. Then next, we can read the next one, verse 8. Jnana Vijnana Triptatma Kutastho Vijitendriya Yuktityuchyate Yogi Samaloshtrashma Kanchana. So here the word by word is jnana, by acquired knowledge, vijnana, and realized knowledge, tripta, satisfied, atma, the living entity, kutastaha, spiritually situated, vijita indriyaha, sensually controlled, yuktaha, competent for self-realization, iti, thus, uchyate, is said, yogi, a mystic, sama, equipoised, lostra, pebbles, ashma, stone, kanchana, gold. So translation here is, a person is said to be A person is said to be established in self-realization, and is called a yogi, or mystic, when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in transcendence and is self-controlled. He sees everything, whether it be pebbles, stones or gold, as the same. It's going more and more, explaining the state of an enlightened person. This is a state of an enlightened. So if you look at the first line here, Jnana Vijnana Truptatma. So Jnana is what we said was intellectual knowledge. What we were saying about the cognitive knowledge. Vijnana is applied knowledge. So for example, if someone is learning chemistry in the class, there will be theory and there will be practical. So in the theory, they will give a formula, right? And then they will go to the lab and then they will mix the chemical and then they will see that the reaction is happening and that formula is actually getting executed in the real practical thing. So this is Jnana and Vijnana, right? So it's chemistry. So you got knowledge and then you're applying that knowledge and then you're seeing the results for yourself. That is what spirituality is all about, really. So spirituality is, first of all, one is understanding at the knowledge level that one is eternal. Then one is practically applying it on a day-to-day basis. So whenever these situations are happening, one is situated in one's eternal nature and one is looking at the situation from that eternal nature. That is application of knowledge. So when, for example, Narada Muni's definition, Sarvopadhi Vinirmuktam Tatparatvena Nirmalam, Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam. So one is engaging the senses in the service of the master of the senses. So Krishna is called Hrishikesha, master of the senses. So, for example, when we are hearing about the Lord, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnum, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Narada, Prahlad Maharaj gives 9 kinds of devotional service. It starts with hearing about the Lord, Shravanam. Then there is Kirtanam, talking about the Lord. When there is Shravanam and Kirtanam, there is Smaranam, remembrance of the Lord. Then Padasevanam, then actually rendering service to the lotus feet of the Lord. Archanam, Archana is doing all the offering the flowers to the Lord and doing all those arati and puja and everything. Archana, Vandana, saying prayers to the Lord. Dasya, becoming the servant of the Lord. Sakhya, becoming the friend of the Lord. Atmanivedanam, total self-surrender to the Lord. So 9 kinds of devotional service. So when one is engaging in these devotional service activity, one is slowly understanding one's original nature as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. And then, so it's like it's a circle. So as we said, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na Shochati na Kankshati Samaha Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktim Labate Paraham. Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita that so there is 2 ways, right? One is the way of jnana and one is the way of bhakti. So the jnana, when someone is doing only through jnana, one will reach the stage of Brahma Bhuta. Brahma Bhuta stage is understanding one's eternal nature. But one might not start in the bhakti stage. So what Krishna says is, when one is in Brahma Bhuta stage, one does not have hankering and lamentation, one sees everyone equally, and then one gets my transcendental divine devotional service. That is one way for a jnani. There is another way for a bhakta. Mam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. Krishna says, the bhakta's marg is, one is engaging all the senses in the service of the master of the senses. The mind is fully engaged in Krishna. Savai mana Krishna padaravindyo. Then everything becomes totally purified. Sagunan samatityetan. One transcends the modes of material nature. And then one reaches that stage of loving devotional service to the Lord. So both the jnani and bhakta, they're both, at the one of the statements in Srimad Bhagavatam, it says that ye anya aravindaksha vimukta maninas. That is one, because Srimad Bhagavatam is a pure scripture for bhakti. So Therefore, the importance of bhakti is really illustrated there. And Veda Vyas actually mentions in one of those verses in Srimad Bhagavatam, he says that anadrita yushmad angre ye anya arvindaksha vimukta maninas. So Veda Vyas is saying that someone might think that I am liberated without recognizing the lotus-eyed Lord. Arvindaksha, lotus-eyed Lord. Vimukta maninas. One is thinking that I am liberated. Tvai asta bhavat avishuddha buddhaya. Vedavyas is saying that unfortunately their intelligence is not fully purified. And what happens is aruya krichena param padam tata. Vedavyas is saying that they do lots and lots of severe austerities and they reach the topmost state, but patanti yadha. Unfortunately they fall down. Why anadrita yushmad angraya? Because unfortunately they did not understand and give respect to the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So unfortunately what happens in the Jnana Marga is that one thinks that that this Brahman state is the final state. But when this is like, for example, Shukadeva Goswami. Shukadeva Goswami, he was Brahman realized, but he was naturally attracted to hearing about Krishna. This is what is Atma Ramascha Munaya Nigrantapi Urukrame Kurvanti Ahetukim Bhaktim Itham Bhuta Gunohari. Very beautiful verse. It says that who gets naturally attracted to hearing about Krishna? One who does not have any other desires. Atma Rama. One who is totally self-satisfied within, blissful within, naturally gets attracted to hear about Krishna. Because why? Because Krishna transcends. He transcends all the material modes of nature. He's always Achyuta. Achyuta means one who never falls down. So the living entities have got this tendency to fall down because the living entities, if they are not totally holding on to the lotus feet of the Lord, at any point, they have the chance to fall down. But the Lord is Achyuta. That's why his name is Achyuta, one who never falls down. There's this verse, Anadim Achyutam Anantarupam Adhyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabham Madurlabham Atma Bhakta Govindam Adi Purusham Tamam Bhajami. Krishna's Advaitam. Krishna is said Advaita. He is non-dual. Advaita, how is he non-dual? In our case, what happens is we have the body, mind, intelligence and false ego, which is material, and then our original nature is spiritual. So we are dual in that way, But Krishna, everything about him is spirit. There is no material in him. There is no matter in him. And that's why he never falls down. Because we are prone to getting associated with matter, the living entities can fall down. So here, in this particular verse, we were discussing about how is Jnana Vijnana Triptatma. So with the knowledge and with the application of that knowledge, one becomes totally satisfied, Triptatma. Then Kutastha Vijatendriya. One is situated in one's eternal nature, and because one is situated in eternal nature, one has conquered their senses, Vijatendriya. Yukta Ityachyate Yogi. So then one is actually becomes a yogi, a person who is connected with the Lord. Then in that state, this is the clear indication of a person who is enlightened. Samaloshra Ashma Kanchana. So he considers pebble, stone and gold as the same. But see, one of the things is sometimes what happens is some people who are engaged in devotional service, they sometimes accept all these things. But they are using everything in the service of the Lord. But sometimes people misunderstand it. And people think that this person is, even though this person is spiritual, but this person is taking lots and lots of money and, he's becoming very luxurious and things like that. But at the end of the day, the real test is inside what the person is. If the person is inside totally detached, then outside there might be so many different things going on. It has no effect on the person. Because one is totally at the spiritual level. So we can take the example of Srila Prabhupada, for example. He, at the age of 70, he traveled to America He had some 40 rupees or something and some old Bhagavatam script. He took a ship, and in the ship he had multiple heart attacks. And then he reached America. He was just chanting Hare Krishna in Tompkins Square Park in New York. And then lots and lots of people got attracted to the sound vibration. They came to him. And then after 1 or 2 years, he formed International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And then he started getting lots and lots of money and everything else. But he was using everything in the service of the Lord. He was not attached to anything. So this is the thing. Anasaptasya vishyan yatarham upayunjata nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagyam uchate. Srila Rupa Goswami gives the definition of what is actual renunciation. The actual renunciation is without being attached, one is using everything in the service of the Lord. That is actual renunciation. And then there is a false renunciation. It is called Falgu Vairagya. Falgu Vairagya is Prapanchikaya buddhya hari sambandhi vasuna mumukshubhi parityago vairagyam falgu vatyate. So basically Rupa Goswami is saying that false renunciation is what? One is not associating with matter at all. Not even for using it in service of the Lord. That is false renunciation. So this is what is the difference between the actual Yukta Vairagya? Yukta Vairagya is everything being used in the service of the Lord. False renunciation is totally renouncing everything, even the things that can be used in the service of the Lord. Because actually everything can be used in the service of the Lord. So we have this body, the mind, intelligence, false ego. If the mind is thinking about the Lord, it is used in service of the Lord. And then mind becomes spiritualized. The example that Srila Prabhupada gives is, for example, the iron which is put in the fire. If iron is put in the fire for a very long time, iron gets the characteristics of the fire. It becomes as red and hot as the fire. So exactly the same thing. When the mind is constantly focusing on the Lord, the mind becomes spiritualized. Then it is not matter. And when it is used in the service of the Lord, it becomes spiritual. So this is the wonderful nature of bhakti. When bhakti pareshana para isha anubhava. It is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhakti is experience of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, and when we experience the Supreme Personality of Godhead, automatically there is viraktir anyatra syat. Automatically one is renounced from everything else. It's not that one has to separately go and seek renunciation and knowledge. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janeti Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayad Ahetukam. It is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam that when one has got that loving devotional service to Krishna, Vasudeva, son of Vasudeva, Bhakti Yoga Prayojita, with full of bhakti, automatically knowledge and renunciation comes as a byproduct of bhakti. So this is the power of bhakti. That's why Krishna says Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati. He says that through bhakti you can know me. He doesn't say Jnana Mam Abhijanati. He doesn't say you can know me through Jnana. He doesn't say Karma Mam Abhijanati. You can know me through karma. No, he doesn't say. He says Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati. Through bhakti you can know me. And what is bhakti? Bhakti is that love for the Lord. And that love is something that one can automatically have. Because in the material world, we have the love, right? We know what is love because we have love for our companions, we have love for our parents, we have love for our family. So we know what is love. Now, if that love is directed towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we are, going in the spiritual direction. And then slowly one comes to this wonderful state of, considering the stone, pebble, and gold as the same. It's quite an amazing state of existence. Then verse 9. Again, Krishna is giving nice qualities of the enlightened person. Suhrun mitrari udasina, madhyastha dveshya bandhushu, sadhushvapi cha papeshu, samabuddhir vishishyate. So here the word by word is suhrit.
Suhrit,
to well-wishers by nature,
to well-wishers by nature,
Mitra,
Mitra,
benefactors with affection,
benefactors with affection,
Ari,
Ari,
enemies,
enemies,
Udasina,
Udasina,
neutrals between belligerents, neutrals between belligerents, Madhyastha,
Madhyastha,
mediators between belligerents,
mediators between belligerents,
Dveshya,
Dveshya,
the envious,
the envious,
Bandhushu,
Bandhushu,
and the relatives or well-wishers,
and the relatives or well-wishers,
Sadhushu,
Sadhushu,
onto the pious,
unto the pious,
Api,
Api,
as well as,
as well as,
Cha,
Cha,
and
and
Papeshu,
Papeshu,
onto the sinners,
unto the sinners,
Samabuddhi,
Samabuddhi,
having equal intelligence,
having equal intelligence,
Vishishyate,
Vishishyate,
is far advanced.
is far advanced.
So your translation is, a person is considered
A person is considered
still further advanced
still further advanced
when he regards
when he regards
honest well-wishers,
honest well-wishers,
affectionate benefactors,
affectionate benefactors,
the neutral,
the neutrals,
mediators,
mediators,
the envious,
the envious,
friends and enemies,
friends and enemies,
the pious and the sinners,
the pious and the sinners,
all with an equal mind.
all with an equal mind.
So, again, this is it's all seeing the same topic from different perspectives. So in the previous verse, he was saying stone, pebble, and gold equal. Now he's saying someone who is a sinner, someone who is a saint, someone who is an enemy, someone who is a friend. So again, the opposites. One is seeing everyone equally. So this is what is sarva bhuteshu ya pashyet bhagavad bhavam atmana bhutani bhagavati atmana esha bhagavat uttama. So we were if you remember, we were talking about this different types of devotees. There was a neophyte devotee, and then there was a devotee who is madhyama adhikari in the middle stage, and then there is uttama adhikari, the topmost devotee. The topmost devotee, their view is that everyone is serving Krishna. And that view is not based on some fallacy. It's based on their actual experience. Because they are only seeing everyone as an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. And that is a reality. Because at the end of the day, all this is like a covering. Like for example, it's a very crude example. If someone is driving a car, we do not address that person as a car. we address that person as a person, right? We don't address the person as a car, even though they are driving the car. But in the material world, there is this association that happens as well. Basing on the model of the car, the person will be considered as a luxurious person or this person or that person. But actually, the real person is a person who has got, who has got this love for everyone. A person might be very luxurious and everything, but if they do not behave properly with others, what is the use of all that luxury at the end of the day, right? So here, what is being said here is that the person who has got this knowledge of Krishna, this love for the Lord, one is situated in that state of knowing that all these external things is external. It is not the person. And the person, real person, is always in relationship with Krishna. They have got that view. Because they have that view, there might be someone who is inimical to them, but they will not consider them as their enemy. Ajata Shatrava. There is a very beautiful verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. It shows about the qualities of a devotee. The qualities of a devotee. Titikshava. Titikshava is forbearing. Karunika. Very merciful to everyone. Titikshava Karunika Suhridam Sarvadehina. One is considering everyone as the best friend. Or one is the best friend of everyone. That person is the best friend of everyone. Suhridam Sarvadehina. Ajata Shatrava. For such a person, Ajata means has not been born. Shatrava means enemy. For such a person, an enemy has never been born. It's quite an interesting way of explaining that that person does not have any enemies. Even though someone else might consider this person as an enemy, but this person will not consider anyone as an enemy. Ajata Shatrava, Shanta, very peaceful. These are the qualities of Sadhu Bhushana. It is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam that these are all the jewels that the saint is wearing. Just like in the olden times, there was people were wearing lots and lots of jewels. So that was considered a very important part of life. So the jewels of the saint, that is what is said. Forbearance, compassion, best friend of all the living entities, no enemies, and fully peaceful. So this is what is this verse is also mentioning. Is considering everyone as an equal. Why equal? Because everyone is at the end of the day an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. So next, the last verse that we are going to discuss today. Yogi yunjita satatam, yogi yunjita satatam, atmanam rahasi sthitah, atmanam rahasi sthitah, ekaki yata chittatma, ekaki yata chittatma, nirashir aparigraha, nirashir aparigraha. So here the word by word, yogi, a transcendentalist. Yunjita, must concentrate in Krishna consciousness. Satatam, constantly. Atmanam, himself by body, mind and self. Rahasi, in a secluded place. Secluded place. Sthitah, being situated. Ekaki, all alone. Yata chittatma, always careful in mind. Nirashi, without being attracted by anything else. Aparigraha, free from the feeling of possessiveness. Okay, so the translation here is a transcendentalist should always engage his body, mind and self in relationship with the Supreme. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desires and feeling of possessiveness. Yeah, so here, but this is actually the state of a person who is enlightened. So because one is this Atmanam Rahasi Sthita, that is a very important lines in this verse. Atmanam Rahasi Sthita means one is situated in the self. So what does one is situated in the self mean? The mind is situated in the self. Because at the end of the day, everything is a play of mind. So the mind, so basically when the mind is happy, we are happy. When the mind is distressed, we are distressed. So when the mind is within the self, the mind is at its home. And then there is no, one is totally peaceful, totally blissful, one does not want anything. That is Atmanam Rahasi Sthita. Yogi Yunjita Satatam. Yunjita is the connection, and yoga also means connection. So when there is Satatam, always the connection with Krishna, one is totally satisfied within. Atmanam Rahasi Sthita. Then Nisprihas Sarva Kamebhyo Ekaki Yada Chittatma Nirashir Aparigraha. Then once Chittatma, Chitta means the mind. The mind and consciousness becomes one pointed towards the Lord. Then in that one pointed concentration on the Lord, one is Nirashi and Aparigraha. One does not have any desires and one does not have any possessiveness. Because one knows that everything belongs to Krishna. So, Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Sukhridam Sarva Bhutanam Gyatva Mam Shanti Bruchiti. Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita that when one knows that I am actually the enjoyer and Bhoktaram, enjoyer of Yagya and Tapasa. Yagya is sacrifices, Tapasa is austerities. Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. I am the proprietor of all the universes. Everything, material, spiritual, everything inclusive. That is Krishna's. Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. that Krishna is the best friend of all the living entities. We said we had used that Suhridam in the Ajata Shatrava as well, right? So, this Suhridam Sarvadehina. In that verse, it was Suhridam Sarvadehina. So Krishna, when the devotee considers Krishna as the best friend of all living entities, the devotee also becomes the best friend of all the living entities. Why? Because the devotee is always connected with Krishna. So that is that example we can take again. When the iron is within the fire, the iron gets the properties of the fire. Because in the same way, when the mind is always linked with Krishna, then one gets the qualities of Krishna. And then that is what is Janma Karmam Cha Me Divyam Evam Yoviti Tatvata Tyaktva Deham Punarjanmam Neti Mameti Swarjuna. Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita that if someone understands that my birth and my activities are divine, in truth is again experientially. It's not only on the intellectual level. And how does one experience that when the mind is absorbed in the Lord? Machchitta Madgat Prana. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, and that is indirect reference to gopis there actually, because gopis were, even though they were doing all the household work with their family, their minds were always engaged in Krishna, thinking about Krishna. What is Krishna doing now? What is Krishna doing now? And whenever they're talking to each other, they're talking about Krishna. So this is what is Machchitta Madgat Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam. Talking to each other. Kathayantascha Mam Nityam. Constantly talking about me. Tushyanti cha Ramanti cha. How are they talking? Fully satisfied and in a fully blissful state of existence. So this is when one can somehow or other get this. So this is what we were discussing about the different stages towards prema, right? Shraddha, first faith, then sadhu sangha, association of devotees, then bhajana kriya, engaging in shravanam kirtanam, chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra and everything. Then anartha nivritti. Anartha nivritti is the cleansing starts taking place. Everything that is not helpful towards my spiritual goal, everything is taken off. It's taken off. The nivritti, that is anartha. So there is artha and anartha. Artha means what is useful for me. Anartha is what is not useful. So all the things that are not useful to understand my real nature are slowly taken. Everything goes away. Anartha nivritti. Then nishtha. Nishtha is there is a strong faith towards the Lord. Then ruchi. Ruchi is the place where one starts getting the taste. Taste. So when there is taste, then there is attachment. Attachment comes when there is taste, right? For example, someone likes a particular dish. Why does one like the dish? Because one likes the taste of the dish. And when one likes the taste of the dish, one is attached to the dish. One wants the dish again and again. So this is ruchi, asakti, then bhava, and then prema. Bhava is the eighth, where there is emotional connection. When one is emotionally connected with the Lord. That is a very high state. That is just before prema. Prema is the ninth state. The prema state is where one is totally in love with the Lord. Then that is like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Yugayatam nimishena chakshusha pravarshaitam shunyayatam jagat sarvam govinda virename. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was in that state of love for Krishna, he was saying that, oh Lord, every second seems to be like ages in your separation. One feels that separation from Krishna. And he was chakshusha pravarshaitam. He says that tears are coming like torrents of rain from my eyes because I am missing you, Krishna. And so this is prema. And this is possible in human form of life. This experience is, and it's an experience, but it is far beyond experience as well, because it is our nature. That is who we are always. And once we realize our nature, then we will know that all the things that was happening since time immemorial was just a kind of a dream. I was never separated from the Lord. The separation itself was an illusion. And that's why the person who is totally in that state of total attachment to Krishna is not bothered by all the ups and downs that happen in the material world, because they know that everything is temporary, everything will go as the time passes, everything will go, but what will remain is my connection with the Lord. It remained before I got this body, and it will remain after this body ends, and it is my nature. It is never going away from me. So that is if you want to kind of go into that state that Krishna is describing in these 5 verses that we discussed. The basics of that is somehow coming to that experiential state of existence where we are always connected with Krishna. So with that, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
If there is any comments or questions, we can discuss.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's quite a lot there, isn't it? But these 5 verses have been, they're really very, very deep verses. These 5 verses are extremely deep, because it's showing the state of an enlightened person. What state they are in, and it cannot be imitated. It's
very difficult.
it's something that comes naturally. A person who is everything about spirituality is it should be natural. Nothing should be artificial about it. If we try to artificially try and do it, it is never going to give the real benefit. And naturally, one feels, and one does it, slowly one reaches a stage where things will just spontaneously happen. That is what the whole creation is. It's just spontaneously happening, right? For example, the heart is beating. Am I doing something for the heart to beat? I'm not doing anything. I'm breathing. Am I doing something for me to breathe? I'm not doing anything.
And
Exactly in the same way. Sorry?
Forced practice.
Sorry?
What if we do a forced practice to have
A little bit of force is needed, little bit, like coming out of the inertia, right? So a little bit force, but one forces to very, extreme extent. That is not going to help. That's why that yukta ahara viharasya, what we had discussed in the last class as well. Everything should be mediocre, ahara, eating in mediocre, vihara, entertainment in mediocre, whatever activities are doing in mediocre, yukta karmasu, yukta swapnava bodhasya, like sleeping in mediocre, everything when one is doing in the mediocre way, then yoga bhavati dukkha. Krishna says then that connection with Krishna can be established in a very nice way. But if one is trying to, being extreme in terms of forcing oneself to do, then what is happening is, see, the mind is like a monkey. That is what it is compared generally. And when if someone forcefully is trying to control the monkey, then the monkey will revolt. And then it will backfire basically, right? So you have to cajole the monkey. Mind has to become our friend. We have to make mind our friend. That's what.
There are also people who defend their wrong deeds, saying that, so what? I'm not a saintly person. So what if I did this?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Like they don't even want to realize that they have done something wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
And they feel it that, so what?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, and that's where it's even don't think about spirituality, just think from a just a standard material aspect. Even in the material world, they say self-awareness is a very important thing. Like if you want to be a good person in a material kind of context also, I'm not even talking about anything about spirituality. Self-awareness is a very important trait. So generally in those conditions what is happening is person is not self-aware, right? So because when there is self-awareness, one can change oneself. There is they call about fixed mindset and growth mindset. In the leadership terminologies and all, there is these terms that is used. So fixed mindset is someone who thinks that I can never improve. These are the qualities that have been given to me and I have to work with this and I can never improve. Growth mindset is that mindset where one always knows that I can always improve. I have the capability to improve. And the improvement has got no limits. I can improve even in my deathbed kind of thing. And that is quite an amazing trait in a person, right? So, this is nothing to do with spirituality actually, right? So even normal, like even our material day-to-day interactions, they talk about this in the leadership world. Fixed mindset versus growth mindset. So this is the same thing, I think, actually. Like if a person is just saying that this is my nature and I will be like this, it's fixed mindset.
Because they think that it's doing harm to others if it's not bringing harm to themselves, then they are okay with it. But once they are harmed, that's when they are pinpricked.
Yeah.
How did this happen to me and that?
Yes.
But if harming others is not harmful for them, then they will continue doing that.
Yes. Yeah. So this is there is a particular Krishna actually says in one of the places where he says that this is one of the nature of a person who has attained him. For them, they totally identify with other person's happiness and distress. That is a quality of a spiritual person. So if someone is happy, they will become as happy as them. And if someone is distressed, they will become as distressed as them. In the sense that they want to help that person. That is Atma upanyena sarvatra sukham va yadi va dukkham sa muni paramo mata. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad-Gita, there is a verse, Atma upanyena sarvatra, means he's considering everyone as his own self. That sa muni paramo mata. Krishna says such a person is the topmost muni, topmost saint. Sukham va yadi va dukkham. So they feel that, so if another person is rejoicing, they feel that they are rejoicing. And if another person is in distress, they feel that they are in distress. And what you are saying is a little bit of an opposite of a muni person, right? Parama muni. If someone, they are not bothered about, if I am happy, that's fine, I don't bother about anyone else.
This is what is practical. Quote is as being practical.
Yeah.
So spirituality is not practical.
No, it is the most practical thing.
Yeah.
Like if you look at it from the perspective of a social life, for example, who in society will be respected, will be given love? Is it a person who just thinks that my happiness, my way or highway, or is it a person who works well with others, who understands their pain and who tries to resolve their pain? Who will be considered better person in a society?
Yeah, but the other kind of people will think that he is after name and fame, that's why he's doing this.
Yeah, but then this is the thing, at the end of the day, we cannot control what others are going to think. We can never do that. Every person has got their own thought process, right? They are, and that's because, again, since time immemorial, we have all these samskaras that we are carrying with us, the subtle body. And because of the subtle body's impressions, one person's thought process will be totally different from another person's thought process. And we can never control the thought process and actions of others. But we can do ours. That is totally in our control. so that's why, and that's why this, even in the psychology world and all, they talk about psychology and even leadership world, they talk about if you do not have a kind of leader mentality, then you will have a victim mentality. That's what they say. So the victim mentality is that that these circumstances have forced me to become this, and I cannot do anything about it. The leader mentality is I have the power to change my circumstances. That it is not okay, circumstances have caused something to me, but I have power within me through which I can overcome these circumstantial obstacles, and I can overcome them, and I can become a better person. So it's all interrelated, actually. So reals, yeah, I think when all these things become finer and finer, like this leadership and all this psychology and everything, when it goes into the finer aspects, it is all spiritual at the end of the day. And spirituality is at a very subtle level. It's the most subtle thing, right? So, yeah. So for example, the body is seen, but mind we are not able to see. But we know mind is there. How do we know mind is there? Because thoughts are there. Mind is nothing but combination of thoughts. All the different thoughts that is going on in the mind. That is all the thoughts that is going on. That is mind. So that is subtle, and even subtler than that is our consciousness. That's what we are. So at the end of the day, everything is based on consciousness. Like if I don't have consciousness, what is existing? Nothing really, right? Nothing exists without consciousness. It is if we say that it is only consciousness that exists, that is also true, right? Because if I don't have consciousness, nothing exists. My whole existence is based on, like, again we can give the example of deep sleep. In the deep sleep, the world is all existing, but from my perspective, is it existing? No, because I am in deep sleep. But then when I wake up, the mind is coming out of its self. Self is its home at the time in the deep sleep. Mind comes out and the mind is creating the whole world.
So if consciousness is so much powerful, then why is it affected by all the modes of nature?
It's not affected.
It's covered.
It's not covered also.
No, it's covered by the mind intelligence and false ego. That's why.
It's what they say is at the spiritual level. A beautiful example is that of electricity. See, electricity gives us heat, and electricity can give us freezer as well, the fridge as well. But is electricity affected by the heat and the freezer? It's not.
It's the source.
It's a source.
Yes.
But it's not affected by anything. Exactly that is consciousness. Exactly that. So consciousness is powering everything, but it is not affected by anything. And that we are. It's quite amazing. And that consciousness is Satchidananda. And it's eternally existing. Sat. It is full of Chit. Chit is consciousness. And Ananda. It's full of bliss. So, and that we are.
So we can't see someone's consciousness.
We cannot directly see, but we know it exists. How do we know it exists? Because I am acting, like I am saying, you're hearing, I am thinking.
So consciousness doesn't define the character, behavior.
No. It's totally independent.
Yeah.
It's totally independent, So basically everything else is like a covering.
So then what defines a person's character, as an example, or behavior?
It's the subtle body.
Yeah, okay.
The impressions, the mind, intelligence, false ego.
Yeah.
That's what is defining the person. But actually, the wonderful thing about that is all temporary, and temporary means it is not existing really. Na sato vidyate bhava, na bhava vidyate sata.
That's why saintly people see everyone equal.
Yes.
Because they only see the consciousness.
Yes, exactly. And that is like a Sutre Mani Gana Iva, Matta Parataram Nanyat Kinchidasti Dhananjaya. Krishna mentioned in Bhagavad-Gita, there is no truth superior to me. Mai Sarvamidam Protam Sutre Mani Gana Iva. He gives the example that just like a thread is joining all the pearls together and making a jewel. So he's saying that is what he is, right? So that is the Lord. So Aham Atma Goda Kesha. Krishna says that I am the Atma as well. So it's, and that's why when we have that outlook, then we will see the things as they are, right?
So it's like in a group of people, if they are strangers to us, we might see them equal. But when we actually start interacting with them, then we kind of differentiate.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's the defect in our consciousness, that we can't see them equally when they are not interacting with us. Once we start interacting with them and get to know them, then we say, oh, this person is positive, this person is negative.
No, that's fine. At the level of see, at the end of the day, we are living in the material world.
Yes.
We are not in the spiritual world. So in the material world, we will have all these different types of personalities, and then our mind will bring in a thought saying that, okay, this person is like that person is like that. That's fine. That's part of living in the material world. But the moment we very strongly identify with those things, that's the moment when we lose touch with our own eternal existence.
So we should not be affected by
Yes.
their positivity or negativity.
Yes.
And
It doesn't mean that, the mind does not enjoy or the mind does not feel dejected. All those things will happen. But we will know that at the core level, I'm not affected by all these things. So at the core level, I'm blissful, I'm fully satisfied, I don't need anything. Everything is fine. It's a really liberated position, like if you think of it from that perspective. And it's such a wonderful knowledge which Bhagavad-Gita is giving. It's kind of amazing. It's really amazing. And this is, see, there are various stages that happens, in the spiritual journey. And it's some costless mercy of the Lord that we have this interest in us, because not everyone would get to this point, right? Like, because unfortunately, see, the thing is, we kind of very strongly identify with our body, and then this sense gratification becomes the only source of enjoyment.
yeah.
There is no other. We don't know about anything else, and it's kind of unfortunate. That's why the saints have so much compassion, for everyone, because they are missing out.
So in that way, Ireland should be the most, I would say, the compassionate country, because after 6 o'clock, every sense enjoyment is closed. So they should indulge in more spiritual activities. They don't have any distractions.
But unfortunately, you have all this, drinking and everything else as well, isn't it?
No, apart from that, like if we talk about family outings,
Okay.
there are hardly any options.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay. Yeah. From the perspective of, say, the Indians living here, maybe.
Yes.
But from the perspective of the people, natives here,
Natives,
There-
they will find their way out.
like the whole
Enjoy
culture
ceremony.
lies around pub culture, isn't it?
Yes.
So then, yeah. But then this is, it's quite, it's mind-boggling, if you look at the whole world and what is going on and everything. It's kind of unbelievable.
Like I
And-
would say, rather in India, there are more distractions. People can enjoy all the luxuries there.
Yes. Yeah.
Here, luxuries are totally unaffordable.
Yeah.
No, but what luxury is here? What
Luxury.
luxury do we have here?
No, I'm talking
In
about
terms
the
of-
like family outings.
Okay.
People have more options in India because they can book a hotel and go there, and
Okay,
Yeah.
there is
yeah,
a distraction
yeah,
in spite
yeah.
of spending a weekend in a temple and attending
Yeah.
the spiritual sessions.
Yeah.
They can go to resorts and
Yes.
things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here it's not that option, and weather is also not that much friendly that you go for such things.
Yeah. See, at the end of the day, if someone has interest, they will do the things wherever they are. It doesn't matter what place they are in. And if someone does not have interest, they will not do that thing wherever they are, whatever. It all depends on the interest, how much interest we have. And it's kind of, it's a conundrum, like in terms of being born as in India, we have all this wonderful knowledge, but we, somehow take it for granted. Like there's Hindi, they say, right, ghar ki murgi dal barabar.
But
So-
I think even the education system lacks that. Like here, they take children to the churches.
Yes.
So many times they visit the church and they want them to be like linked up to their culture and what would I say, whatever their faith they have and belief they have.
Yeah, it's kind of debatable here. I don't. It's only the old people who go to church and all. Actually, unfortunately.
Like they
No,
take
but
the
the
school children,
schools are being driven by churches.
Catholic schools.
Do they actually bring them to the mass and all? Is
prayers.
it?
Yeah.
Not all school does that.
Only
Oh,
the
is it?
Catholic churches, Catholic schools.
Yeah, but even among the Catholic schools, not every school would do that.
Because they are converting them to multi-diversity now.
Yeah, but I think it probably depends on their curriculum and all as well. Some schools might not have the curriculum where they would actually go to the mass and all.
Mm-hmm.
No, but
Yeah.
like I don't know who was telling us it was the responsibility of the
It
Of
was
the
in the
father,
school only, they were saying.
church father to
Mm.
educate
Mm.
at those times, like way before.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
that is
so,
true.
So it is something that the schools and the church
Yeah,
has a
depend
very
on
close
them.
relation in that term because they used to.
You're talking about the olden times.
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's kind of in olden times there was all these religious aspects, right? And now it is considered as something that is not modern, like
Old only.
yeah, exactly, yeah. But you don't need to go into all those scriptural aspects, At the end of the day, if we can somehow get to the essence of the teaching and try to live that essence, that is quite important, I think. So even in the modern terms, I think they talk about being good to others and things like that, right? So that is important as well. But going to that, this knowledge that we have in Vedas, Bhagavad-Gita is kind of amazing in that sense, because it is helping us to know that we are eternal. It's such an amazing knowledge, right? So it's not dependent on this particular cloth. Right? It's just a cloth. The body is a cloth. It's kind of amazing. It's not there in any other scriptures, really. That is real knowledge, and then that knowledge helps to unify everyone together. because we know that a person African or an American or whatever continent they are from, it's just a dress they are wearing.
Yeah.
Originally, they are all eternal part and parcels. But what happens, unfortunately, is when these religions have these, statements where they say that you have to go to only this, only that, only this, only that, then unfortunately the segregation is starting to happen. And actually, the religion should unite people, but unfortunately, it starts dividing people, and then it gives fuel to the fire to the atheist people.
Yes.
Because atheist people say that, you're following religion, but you're fighting amongst yourself. What use is your religion if you're fighting amongst yourself? It's better to be atheist.
They don't have faith. They can't develop that faith. I think they are in a very neophyte state, and then they get
Yes.
such kind of exposure, and then they just lose their faith.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's a complicated situation. But I think, at the end of the day, it's all the play of the Lord. And we are part of that play, It's quite amazing that way. Okay, thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We'll just sing the Narsimha Pranam mantra. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlada Lada Dayine. Prahlada Lada Hiranyakashipu Purvakshaha. Shilatanta Nathalaye. Shilatanta Ito Narsimho Parato Narsimho Ito Narsimho Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsimho Yato Yato Bahir Narsimho Hridaye Narsimho Bahir Narasimhamadin Sharanam Prapade Tavakara Kamala Varenatha Adbhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Vranda Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Tavakara Kamala Varenatha Adbhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Vranda Keshavadrita Narahari Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jaya Narsimhadev 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 Jaya Narahari 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 Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Bhakta Prahlad 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 Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nittai Gaura Hari Bol Nittai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nittai Gaura Hari Bol नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय प्रहलाद महाराज की जय नमो विष्णु पदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठावतरे श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारणे सर्वं श्री कृष्णार्पणमस्तु कृष्णे मतिरस्तु हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.